Well, her speech after New Hampshire had that victorious tone, like you said. It reminded me of a speech last week, and that was Ron DeSantis after coming in second in Iowa. He said, "We punched our ticket out of Iowa." He ended his campaign, obviously, just a few days later. But everyone is now, who has dropped out, is lining up, kissing the ring of Donald Trump. We saw that with Ron DeSantis and his somewhat lukewarm endorsement of Trump. We saw that with Tim Scott, who is more fervently endorsing him. So I am curious because these people, it does seem like they're trying to preserve their political future for in 4 years to be that leader of the Republican Party. Does Nikki Haley, if she stays in this race, does she have a political future?
Only if Trump loses badly enough to carry down what he has built, which is a Republican Party in his own image, which is populist, right wing, instead of what I would call more conventionally conservative, which is what a lot of Midwestern voters are. That's why it was so surprising, in a way, that Trump was such a convincing winner in Iowa, which is a Midwestern state where voters are kind of conventional conservatives. By that I mean that they're Reaganite type conservatives. They don't want to blow up the kitchen stove. They want lower taxes, but there's also a division in the party about internationalism. We can talk about that if you want, but that's also a real departure from the older Ronald Reagan. We fight the Soviet Union. Remember, you may not remember, but you may have read that somebody asked him once what was his idea about the Cold War, and he said, "We win, they lose." And real clear, real straightforward. Um, but it seems like the country is so much more divided now, and it seems like the divisions have an almost religious quality, I think. Don't you, Brittany? I mean, people aren't just wrong on the other side, they're apostates. They're going to burn in hell.
So I am curious. You posed this question, how Trump captured his party. Can you explain that?
Yes. Um, I think that there were a couple of things. One was that the wars in the Middle East that George W. Bush engaged in which were very costly in blood and treasure, and we didn't win. And they opened up Iran for a much more powerful future in the region. That was part of the problem. Um, I just think that more voters on the Republican side became increasingly concerned about a large administrative state run out of Washington and controlling so many aspects of their lives. And um, we're not ruled anymore by laws. We're ruled by bureaucrats who are unelected, who make a lot of rules. Think about all these rules about cutting out gas stoves, moving very aggressively to electric cars. These may be good moves or bad moves. You can have your own view about that, but they're not really laws that were passed by Congress. The Congress passed a very broad laws. Sort of, we want the air to be clean, we want the water to be clean, and then the law will say 2,600 times the Secretary of Energy shall. And of course, the Secretary of Energy doesn't do anything. He or she delegates it down to their middle level bureaucrats. Well, if you don't like those rules, um, you tough luck. Basically, it costs you a fortune to oppose them in court, and you don't even get to go to court first. The bureaucracies uh, make the rules, that is, they're the legislature. They enforce the rules, that is, they're the executive branch, they're executing the rules. And then they are often the first judge if you want to get a contest the rules or their application to you. So that's the judicial branch. So they're all three branches consolidated in a non-elected mid-level bureaucracy that is very difficult to contend. And Donald Trump was the spokesman for opposition to that, and the spokesman for, I think, um, the people who used to be Harry Truman Democrats, in Franklin Delano Roosevelt Democrats, who were working class people who felt like the economy was leaving them behind and all the federal government and all the corporations' resources were being devoted to the boss's pay and to DEI and to other things. And Trump served as a kind of spokesman against all of that.